Alright, we're live. We're gonna wait a few minutes for y'all to get in here. Once we get 5 people in here, we'll start. Or if we can just get a couple, I'll be happy with that too. Alright, I just sent the link to y'all. And we'll wait a few minutes and we'll get started. Alright, we got our first person in here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. We'll start in a little bit once we get a few more people in here.
I think Zach Skelton's going to listen.
Alright.
Maybe even Chase, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, we got people with a ton of busy schedules for Wednesday, so alright, I'm tired of waiting. Let's just get this started. We got 2 people in here now. Shout out to y'all. We gonna get started. First things first, this is the Raw Prospect Podcast. Hit that subscribe button. Yeah, this is episode 4. A couple of our other episodes are on Twitch. Check us out there. And yeah, we got college football predictions today, and then we're going to talk some NBA. So yeah, we're going to start it off. Oregon State at Ohio State. And if y'all are familiar with college football, so y'all know that the preseason rankings really don't mean much. But
Yeah.
I think Ohio State will be up there by season. I think they'll maintain their position pretty well.
Certainly. When I look at this game, the first thing a lot of people bring up is the Urban Meyer situation and the fact that they won't have him for the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
But when I look at it, their first 3 games are all winnable. You have Oregon State at home, Rutgers at home, and at TCU. That might be a little shaky, but when I look at this game in particular, Ohio State has a new quarterback, Dwayne Haskins, but he has experience. He's going to be a sophomore. In 8 games last year, he passed for almost 600 yards and completed 70% of his passes with 5 touchdowns and 1 interception, and he can run the ball. But I don't expect him to carry much of the running load because they have Heisman candidate. We talked about this in a previous podcast. The running back,
J.K. Dobbins. Yeah.
The defense is loaded. This team is probably one of the more talented teams in the country, and they're as deep as any team in the country. The defense is loaded, especially in the front 7. They led the nation in tackles for loss last year with 114. And so I think the defense will be able to control the trenches. The front 7 will be able to stop Oregon State's running attack and force the quarterback to throw. And their offense is definitely talented to put up enough points to beat them at home.
Yeah,
the game's a blowout. I think it's like 42 to 10 maybe. Something around there.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. I'll say they don't even get a touchdown. I'll say like 35-6. 2 field goals. That's it. I don't think Oregon State's going to be doing much.
And to add to the fact, Ohio Ohio State's probably going to be super fired up due to the fact, like,
with all the controversy, of course, yeah.
So that's going to add to their internal fire and just make it even more of a
So on that note, I guess we'll move on. Western Kentucky at Wisconsin. As y'all can see, Wisconsin is they're in the preseason ranking, so that it's not very accurate, but they put them in the college football playoff, like projections, in terms of projections. So that just shows what the experts think of Wisconsin this year.
There are some good games that we're going to predict. This isn't necessarily what you call a good game. I just chose to predict this game because we want to see this team, Wisconsin, what they're capable of. And I like to watch good players, and Wisconsin has probably the top 2 player in the country, Jonathan Taylor. I think he's going to have a big game against the bad Western Kentucky defense that's replacing a bunch of starters in the front 7. I don't think this game is close either. I think Wisconsin wins 38 to 6. Maybe a couple field goals for Western Kentucky. I don't expect any touchdowns because of the defense.
I'm going to say 31-10.
Yeah, it's going to be somewhere in there.
This is if you're going to start a Heisman campaign as a running back, you probably want to start it against Western Kentucky. That sounds like a...
By the way, I read a stat, in case y'all want to know. Wisconsin has won 22 straight home openers by an average of 26 points per game.
Dang.
So, there you go.
They must be playing Western Kentucky a lot. Anyway, we'll move on.
Teams like that, yeah. A lot of FCS opponents.
Yeah. Next game is Florida Atlantic at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I chose this game because a lot of people want to see what FAU is capable of with Lane Kiffin. He's going to their second season coaching this team. And a lot of other people want to see this Kyler Murray guy, who's supposedly going to be a baseball player, but is playing football at Oklahoma this year. He's a multi-sport athlete, so there's not a question about his athleticism. There are a couple questions about his arm, but Oklahoma has 2 good running backs who will share the load, and they got a defense that can get it done against FAU. I think FAU will score some touchdowns, maybe keep it close in the beginning, because Oklahoma's got to get their rhythm. But eventually, I think Oklahoma's going to pull away. It's going to be something like 42-17, 42-20, somewhere in that range.
I'm going to say maybe even higher than that. I'm going to say 56 to 27.
All right, another cool stat for you guys to consider is Oklahoma has won 30 of their past 32 home openers. Their last loss was in a home opener was in 2005. So it's been a while since they've lost a home opener. So I don't expect them to lose this game.
All right.
Our next game is Ole Miss at Texas Tech.
Yeah, I saw a headline on ESPN that the quarterback for Ole Miss, his last name is Teamu or something, that he might be a dark horse for the Heisman Trophy. And it seems like Ole Miss always has that type of quarterback. It's just whether that team can stay healthy because they always have talent.
I think Ole Miss has the more proven offense. They have the more proven quarterback, I should say. They're more experienced. They have more guys returning on offense and defense.
And they have to pay. They have to play tougher competition more consistently.
Texas Tech's defense anyway is shit.
Yeah.
So I expect maybe for Texas Tech to keep it close. I think this game will definitely be closer than a lot of the first games we predicted, but
it's still like not what we'll predict later in our other marking
I'm
matchups.
Gonna say 28-17.
All right. Texas Tech is one of those teams that are always like playing high tempo, aired out kind of football. So I'm gonna say higher than that. I'm gonna say. I think it'll be close. I think Ole Miss will win 45-38.
Alright. A stat for y'all in this game is this was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Texas Tech, they're playing at home in this game. Texas Tech averaged 59 points per game at home 2 years ago.
But that was with Patrick Mahomes too.
Yeah.
But still, that's crazy.
Their score differential home and away has been
insane.
A lot the past couple years. But we'll see how many without Mahomes. And as I said earlier, Ole Miss has the more proven quarterback. So
yeah. All right. Yep.
Texas at Maryland. A lot of y'all care about this game.
Oh, you skipped. Wait. Oh wait, no, never mind.
Yeah, I think I skipped over Texas and Maryland, but we're coming back to it.
Yeah.
UT. This is a rematch of last year's opener.
Yeah.
Which was played in Austin, which Maryland won.
Yeah, Maryland ran all over Texas in that game.
Yeah, 51-41 was the score of that game. I expect this game to be different. I hope for it to be different.
Honestly, the since then, the defense has improved so much for Texas. Yes. I would be really surprised if Maryland hangs more than 35 on them. Honestly.
I expect Texas to win this game. I don't think.
Yeah, because it's just higher expectations this year. They gotta win games that they're supposed to win. It's one thing to show up against Oklahoma every year because, of course, that game's gonna have hype. But in the games that don't have hype, you got to show up every single time. Like Texas will have games where they just excuse my language, but they just half-ass it. They just don't. It's like they're not giving complete effort, you know?
Last year, obviously they lost the running back, Foreman, but they also have two veteran quarterbacks coming back. They have some good running backs, I'm pretty sure. They have a good wide receiver in Colin Johnson, who's been there for a while.
Yeah, they haven't utilized him very well though.
They have experience, and the defense has improved, like you said. I don't know about a score for this game, but going to say it's going to be around 35 to 24.
All right. I'm going to say Texas wins 31-17.
All right.
And now we get into the good games. Top 10 matchup, Washington at Auburn.
Oof.
At a neutral site. At a neutral site.
It is a neutral site, but it's in Atlanta, which is technically
way closer to Auburn.
Way closer to Auburn than it is Wisconsin.
Washington.
Washington, sorry. This game's going to be won down in the trenches. You got that front seven of Auburn on defensively, and then you got the very experienced all juniors and seniors on the offensive line of Washington. I honestly think this game is going to be won and lost based on that matchup right there. I expect Auburn to win, not only because they're going to have a lot of their fans behind them in that Atlanta stadium, but also because I'm a big believer in Jared Stidham in the offense, even though they lost Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah.
I believe Stidham might even be in the conversation for Heisman that season's in if Auburn's in contention. And their defense is really good too. I'm pretty sure I can find y'all's stat, but we all saw it. They can compete. And that offensive line for Auburn is also improved. So with the combination of Stidham improving, this will probably be his best year, hopefully, and the offensive line improving. That should do it for Auburn. And I believe in their front seven. In case y'all want to know, Jared Stidham was sacked 38 times last year, which tied for 5th most in the country. So if the offensive line improves,
then the offense will improve because then they won't have to be making up for lost yards.
Stidham won't have to worry about pressure. He can sit in the pocket, make his reads, get those throws he knows how to make. They can open up the running game for their new running backs with the passing game. I believe Washington, they have a good front seven, but I think they're kind of have an inexperienced. I read somewhere they have an inexperienced secondary, so Stidham can exploit those matchups on the outside. It's going to be good for Auburn, but I think the game will be close. To get to the point, I think it will be like something like 34-28.
All right.
Auburn wins.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really close game, too. Then the games I saw Washington last year, they looked soft. Like, there's no other way to...
That's definitely a knock on Washington. They can look really soft.
Against SEC opponents, especially. So... It's either they'll stand up to the challenge or they'll get pushed around again. And I'm putting my money on that they'll get pushed around again. So I'm going to say, actually, I think that Auburn tonight might pull away. I'm going to say, like, 42-28, but I think it'll be close the first half, and then Auburn will start tiring out Washington.
But one one thing to keep in mind, for those of you who think if Washington loses this game, they're out of playoff contention, they're not, because the rest of their schedule is easy. I expect them to win most of their Pac-12 games. The biggest challenge is Stanford, but they get that game at home.
Yeah.
If they win the rest of their games, the rest of their schedule is a lot easier than Auburn's, like 50 times easier than Auburn's.
Yeah.
So if they can get that Pac-12 title and only have that one loss on their schedule to a really good Auburn team, they can still make the playoff.
Yeah, and it matters how they lose also.
Yeah.
Like they can't get smacked. Like they've got to put up a fight.
But if they put up a fight,
then it'll be different, and they'll have to be in consideration.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. So we can move on that. Tennessee at West Virginia.
West Virginia, they have another quarterback who is might be a dark horse for the Heisman Trophy. Will Greer, he's a transfer from I forget where.
I remember him from last year though.
It might
against
come
Texas.
to me, but this guy's a prototypical NFL quarterback. 6'4", 6'5", good arm. They have good weapons. My question for West Virginia is on the defensive side of the ball, because they allowed 33 points per game last year, which is bad.
Yeah.
It's like 95th in the nation. But Will Greer, as I mentioned, has a big arm. He threw for more than 300 yards in 10 games last year. That's second most in the nation, behind only Mason Rudolph, who played at Oklahoma State. So I think with Tennessee rebuilding that defense and adjusting to that new coach and Jeremy Pruitt, West Virginia is definitely going to win this game because they're at home. I think it will be 31-17.
All right. Personally, I think it'll be a little closer than that. I think it'll be high scoring. I'm gonna say like 38-42, West Virginia. But I think this game could go either way, low-key.
If there is a upset bid,
this might be the game for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. That'd be huge for Tennessee.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Michigan at Notre Dame.
Oh, man. All right. Yeah. This game is supposedly, I read a stat today on ESPN, this game is like the most bet on game for week 1.
Yeah, to me, this is the most intriguing game of the week by far.
You could argue this game is better than.
Yeah.
Better
Honestly,
than
I think it is.
Washington Auburn.
Yeah.
But to get to the point, we did a podcast when we were discussing college football college football playoff contenders. Sorry, and Emmy brought up the fact that this is a big year for Jim Harbaugh and that Michigan team. They got to show us something now. Even though I think you have to check the facts on this, but I think Jim Harbaugh has a contract extension, so I'm not really sure if they would actually replace him if it ended up doesn't working out. But anyway, I think Michigan's going to step up. I really like the guy they got from Ole Miss who's going to start for them, Shea Patterson. I think he's better than the guys they had last year. Michigan's defense is stellar. They ranked top 5 in the nation last year. A lot of those guys are coming back. As far as Notre Dame goes, they're starting a quarterback who they had last year. I forgot his name. It starts with the B. But anyway, they don't have as good of a defense.
And they lost a lot of offensive linemen, too.
And they lost a lot of offensive line to the draft, as we saw. So I think the game will be close. Notre Dame will find a way to keep it close. But I think Michigan is finally gonna get a win here, because they really need it.
Yeah, for their coach's sake.
Yeah.
If they can't get a win in this game, then it's gonna be tough to make the playoff, honestly.
As far as the scoring goes, I think it might take a little bit for the offense to get going, but I think once it does, it's going to be high scoring.
Yeah. I feel like this is one of those games where both offenses will kind of explode in the second half.
Which is what we want to see.
Yeah.
If you're a fan, you want to see that. I'm going to say Michigan wins 40. I'll say 38-31.
I'm gonna say 31-27, Michigan.
All right. And we have a couple more. We'll speed it up here. Louisville and Alabama at a neutral site in Orlando.
Games like this with Alabama, like, I will never pick against them, honestly. I remember when they were playing USC, and then the game was getting so much hype because Matt Barkley and yada yada yada, and then they just whooped them.
Mm-hmm.
Just not even close. So
yeah. Cool stat for y'all. This is the seventh straight season Alabama kicks off their season in a neutral site. In the past 6, they're 6-0, winning those games by an average of 26 points per game.
Dang.
I don't expect anything different.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Alabama 42-17. Maybe even worse.
Yeah. I'm going to say, like...
And I don't think it matters who they start at quarterback.
Yeah, it really doesn't. I'm going to say, like, 48-10.
Yeah. 2 more games for y'all. These games are one's on Sunday and the other's on Monday. The first one is Miami, who's a top 10 preseason ranked team, against LSU, who's ranked 25. That's at a neutral site in Dallas.
That's an interesting game, actually.
Very. Luckily, we get Monday off, so we can watch these games. Miami, I really like their defense. They're opportunistic. They take away the ball from your offense. They forced 33 turnovers last year. That's third most in the country.
All right, here, hold on. Let me see if I can stand my phone up. My arm's getting tired.
Yeah, that's third most in the country, so I have to pause.
Dude. Let me,
I don't think they're going to need a lot of scoring to win this game because of that defense.
that didn't work. I'm just going to hold it.
What's the quarterback's name? See if I can... Malik Rozier. This guy's not elite runner, but he can run. He can hurt you with his legs and those zone reads if they're set up right. But he has a big arm, and they got playmakers on the perimeter. One of them is Amon Richards, who you'll probably hear about a lot this year. He actually broke Michael Irvin's single season receiving record last year, and he even missed the end of last year with an injury. So if he stays healthy, they got playmakers all around, Rozier, and they got a great defense. So I expect Miami to win this game by a score of, let's see, I don't know. What do you think, Emmy? While I think about my score.
Well, let me just add something on LSU real quick, though. Their defense has always been filled with studs, but they don't really mesh well. I don't know why that is, but the last couple years it seemed to me, as soon as Les Miles left, the defense just hasn't really flowed right.
Yeah. I'm going to say 28-20 Miami.
I'm going to say it's going to be low scoring. I'm going to say 23-16 Miami.
23-16?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. For all those reasons I mentioned, I don't expect Miami to lose this game, because they mesh, and LSU has had problems meshing, so I don't expect anything.
Yeah.
Last game, kind of dragging this out a little, sorry y'all, is Virginia Tech and Florida State.
Yep.
Big ACC showdown.
Yeah, right to start the year. I actually don't like this that much. I think teams should be able to get in the flow of the season before they start their conference matchups. You know, because whoever loses this game is gonna be 0-1 in their conference to start the year, and that's not really fair, right? Like.
A lot of people forget. Florida State's got
Francois. Yeah.
Francois coming back. If he's healthy,
he's a really good quarterback. He just the last couple of years their offensive line has been absolute trash. So he's just been running for his life back there.
Yeah, and the problem is Francois not really a running guy. Neither was the guy who replaced him, Blackman.
Yeah.
He was more of a runner. But if you look at their new coach, Willie Taggart, who they got from southern Florida, supposedly he's a good coach, but he likes mobile quarterbacks. He likes to run the ball a lot with those quarterbacks, do a lot of read options and stuff like that. I don't think he's going to be able to do that much with these guys. I think they got a good duo at running back in Cam Akers and Jaquez Patrick, and they got some good receivers.
Yeah, Florida State always recruits well.
Coordinator, yes, from Michigan State.
What'd you say?
So they got
defense coordinator?
They got a new coaching staff. It's going to be interesting to see how this coaching staff utilizes all its players, especially with Francois coming back. You have to kind of judge his health, because you don't want to, if he gets hit on a run, takes a hit to that knee, you don't want to risk anything.
Yeah.
as far as Virginia Tech goes, they're also really talented. But I think Florida State's going to win this game.
Yeah, just because they're at home.
A lot of people. People, once Francois hurt last year, people just kind of
forgot about him.
Ignored Florida State. But they went on a roll at the end of last year. They won their last 4 games by an average of 40 points per game last year. So they a lot of people ignored them.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to be back in the talk this year.
Yeah,
even
for sure.
though they don't have Jimbo Fisher, who's now at Texas A&M. As far as the score goes, 24-14, Florida State.
Ooh, low scoring, huh? I was thinking like 35.
Virginia Tech lost a lot on that defense.
I'm thinking like 35-31, Florida State.
All right. Close. It will be close.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's it for our college football predictions for the opening week of the season. So we'll see what happens with all that. Games kick off tomorrow. I'm not sure if there are any marquee games. I know Texas A&M plays tomorrow, and maybe UCF. I know there's some ranked teams on the schedule, but definitely be on the lookout this weekend for some of those games, and we'll see if we can kind of how close we get on our predictions.
So we're gonna move into some NBA talk.
So Emmy, you wanna?
Yeah, we're gonna move into some NBA talk, like you said, and then gonna be ranking the top 5 players at each position, and then we're just gonna kind of elaborate on each player and like the state of their teams going into next year in terms of free agent acquisition, off-season moves, all of that. And we can start with point guards just to kick it off, I guess.
Yep. You want to start it off? Who's
My number one point guard is Curry. I've got a weird theory on Westbrook. I'm not a Westbrook hater, so to say, but I don't like his style of play. I just don't. He's not a winner. His style of play just doesn't go well with winning. That's just all it is. And that's just what the facts say.
Yeah. I agree. Curry's my number 1 point guard over Westbrook.
I mean, you can say what you want about him defensively, but everybody knows he's the best shooter of all time. And what's Westbrook at? What's Westbrook the greatest at all time at? Like triple doubles? I don't know about that. I think I'd still give that one to Oscar.
Of all time in that
Probably so. Yeah, I don't know if he gets another triple double season, then we'll see. But
we might rethink this.
But I don't value triple doubles as much as I do shooting.
And Curry's a lot easier to play with, so
yeah, for sure. It's not too late for Westbrook to evolve. Like he's been in the league 10 years. It's kind of like late, but if he starts now, then maybe he can have a better second half to his career in his 30s. You know?
Yeah, the thing I find stunning is even though the Warriors have the services of KD, Clay, and Draymond, when they don't have Steph in the lineup, the offense kind of stutters a little. They only average, as good as it sounds, 107.6 points per 100 per session per 100 possessions without Curry on the floor, which would leave them 10th in the league, which is still good, but it's not what they are with Curry on the floor.
Yeah. They're like, I think they're like 117 like points when he's on the floor. So,
and honestly, I don't know if Westbrook makes that big of a difference whether he's on or off the floor for OKC. I haven't done that research. I might be wrong, but
I think he did, but that's only because they don't have a bench. This year they're going to have a bench. So this year there's no excuse, Last year a lot of people gave Westbrook a pass because he's getting acclimated with Paul George. He's got Melo to deal with. He's got this, he's got that. But this year there is nothing. There's no excuse this year. There's no reason they should lose to anybody but the Warriors. Even the Rockets, I expect them to take the Rockets to 7 games. At least. If not beat them. So when you talk about Westbrook's legacy, it's going to be a lot of just how he always fell back to the same habits in the final 5 minutes of big games. Always the same habits. He does this. He always does the same thing. He'll go back to almost half court, top of the key. He'll do his little rhythm dribble. He'll dribble up slowly, and then he'll pull up from deep, and then air ball or brick. Never make it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can just forget Westbrook becoming a good 3-point shooter. I don't think he'll ever be a stud 3-point shooter like Curry,
which makes sense. But he can at least become like, if he can just get to 35%, that would be respectable. 27% is unacceptable.
If you look at it, he shoots a lot better at home than he does on the road.
Yeah, he does.
He shoots 46% at home, but he shoots 38% on the road.
Is that from the field or from?
That's from the field.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Got to become more consistent at least. Try to work on his. I don't know if I want to say shot selection. Maybe later in games, but he's got to definitely pick his spots and know when to do what.
Yeah, for sure. I think
when to pass, when to take a big shot, when to get to the basket, which I think he should do a lot more of. He already does a lot of it, but
yeah, that when you think about it, Westbrook really doesn't get to the free throw line that much. That could be something he can work on for sure.
His free throw percentage is not very stellar for a point guard.
Yeah.
He only shot 73% from the line. That's not
very good. And I think when Kevin Durant was there, he was up at 80%. So that's saying something.
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah, it's very, very weird.
A lot of weird questions with Westbrook.
Yeah. Apparently, he's got a shooting coach now.
Maybe you should have got that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, man, like you should have got that when you lost the finals in 2012. It's 2018, bro. Where have you been?
I know.
So it takes you 45 shots in a playoff game to figure out that, I should probably learn how to shoot.
Yeah.
In an elimination game, taking 45 shots, like with 2 other stars on your team, like whether you think like even though Melo didn't perform well in the playoffs last year, he's still a star. I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we can I think we need to speed this up a little.
Yeah. We were supposed to do rankings, and now we're just getting off topic a little bit. I think we can all agree that Westbrook is number 2 point guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you have at number 3?
3 is where it gets interesting. You got Kyrie, you got Damian Lillard, you got John Wall. Not really though. No, not John Wall. Never mind. Forget I said that. Really, it's just between Lillard and Kyrie.
I'm going with Kyrie.
Yeah, I'll go Kyrie too. I ain't gonna fly with getting swept in the playoffs as a 3rd seed. That's not. Yeah.
I mean, we all know like Kyrie is one of the best finishers we've ever seen around the basket. He was unfortunately derailed by some
Injuries. Yeah, he's injury prone now. That's very
or something. And
yeah.
then he had something go on where he needed surgery for something. But his numbers when he was playing were stellar.
Yeah.
25 points and 6 assists with a steal and a half. His player efficiency rating was right up there with the likes of Curry.
Yeah, and he was able to evolve his game as the leader. That's where I can respect him more as a player, because because the reason why people were doubting that he could lead a team was because he never showed us that he could be a facilitator in Cleveland. He was always in that scoring role. So with Boston last year, he was just a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for here? A lot more conscious of where his teammates are at all times, and he's just able to make all the passes like a point guard should, you know. Because before LeBron was in that role.
Yeah, for sure. The amazing thing is he's only like 25 or 26.
Yeah, that's like with his resume, you'd think he'd be like recognized more as a top player, you know, because this is a guy that's scored. He's had 40-point finals games. He's had
big shots.
Yeah, all over the place. Big shots all across his career.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a freaking movie. And it's just like he's under the radar, which is just weird.
I think when he's on the court, he's a fringe MVP candidate.
Yeah.
He's not in the conversation, but he's very close.
Actually, last year, I don't know if you heard me say it, but I was definitely one of those people that was making an argument for Kyrie, but until he got hurt, of course.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Starting, like, going on a 24-game win streak, what was it? 24-game win streak?
Yeah, something.
On a new team leading the way with no Gordon Hayward, that's just impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So he's number 3. 4, I'm going with Damian Lillard.
Yeah, same.
Baby Dame.
Yeah.
His numbers are identical to Kyrie's. 25 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal.
The only difference is that he's in the West.
Yeah.
And it's tougher. It really is. Like it's crazy the different perceptions of Damian Lillard throughout the years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He's this uh after the Houston series where he hit that buzzer beater, he was perceived as this underrated point guard that's clutch and just always shows up in big moments. And now it's like he gets all the recognition he deserves, but he's not recognized as clutch anymore after this after that New Orleans series.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we've seen some improvement defensively. 2 years ago, he was minus 2.49 in the defensive.
Defensive win shares.
Defensive plus minus.
Oh yeah,
Is that
yeah,
what it is?
yeah.
Last year he improved that to minus 0.67. So that's up more than 2 points, which is big when you look at it from an analytics perspective. So if he can continue to play that, continue to improve, defending off screens, which is something he struggled with in the past, and keep up his scoring ability, he's definitely a top 5 guy.
Yeah, for sure. With Lillard, I don't. Unlike these other two guys, I don't see Lillard leading a team to a conference finals or to the finals anytime soon. But what I will say about Lillard though is that he's like a tough shot maker. And I just think in the playoffs it just doesn't go as well for him because when his shot's falling, he doesn't really get easy shots ever. Like when he takes tough shots. Like that's the bottom line, you know?
Yeah.
Like even Kyrie, he'll use his dribble moves to get wide open and get to the basket and get easy layups and all that. But Damian Lillard is just doing like step backs and just like extremely difficult shots all over the place.
And Zach Skelton, if you're watching or if you're listening, you know that.
Yeah.
You're a Blazers fan. All right, who you got number 5?
5. Shoot.
I was thinking Chris Paul.
Yeah. You got a point there, that's for sure.
I don't think John Wall's top 5. I don't think Kyle Lowry's top 5.
Yeah, definitely not Kyle Lowry.
Don't think.
A name that popped in my head was actually Drew Holiday. I don't know why, but maybe that was just because we were talking about Damian Lillard. But yeah.
The next couple of years,
yeah. Definitely not right now. I just he just popped in my head. I don't know. He's the most proven. He's the seasoned vet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely should put Chris Paul for sure. I can't argue with that one. After what he did in the Western Conference Finals, man. Not even a Rockets fan. Just a Warriors hater. I gotta respect it, man. Like for real. I was so hurt when he couldn't play Game 7. I was like, dang. Because I really bought in. I really thought they were going to the finals.
Yeah, I did too. I really did too. I was hoping for that, but...
Yeah, I was really hoping for somebody to knock off the Warriors. Because, like, we've just had this Warriors Cavs shit over and over and over again. It just gets old. It just gets really, really old.
Yeah, this year we'll see something different. For sure, because the Cavs
Yeah,
will
because
not be
Cavs
in the
are not
finals.
going to be there. Hell no. Unless Colin Sexton is a god. Which I don't think so.
No. They're going to need, like...
They're going to need a trade for, like, I don't know.
They're going to
Somebody.
need, like, Kevin Love to become, like, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and freaking, like...
He's going to have to go full-on Minnesota plus defense.
Yeah. But we're getting a little off topic. But
Yeah.
those are our top 5 point guards. Let's do shooting guards. I think let's speed it up a little. Sorry, when you love the NBA and you start talking about it, sometimes you get carried away.
Yeah, that's just kind of what
we do.
When I picked this topic, that's what I kind of had in mind, you know? For us to just, like, get lost in conversation. Just because, like, sometimes our podcast just gets too
monotonous.
Yeah, that word. Whatever that means.
It means like boring, like.
Well, I wouldn't say boring. I'd just say just structured.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing, but sometimes it's better to just be a little more natural.
Well, yeah, I like the conversation. I'm just like, I think we need to
speed it up. Yeah, I was thinking maybe we ended on small forwards.
Number 1.
Yeah, there's no argument there. James Harden.
32 points per game. There's no argument. He's an offensive machine.
Yeah. Where would you rank James Harden, like in terms of all-time shooting guards?
Oh God, you put me on the spot.
Yeah, to me, like I've given this some thought. I think he's top 5.
Most likely, yeah. I have to take a look at that, but I think I could agree with that. Just going by what I know.
Yeah, because Jordan, Kobe, Wade. Then you can put whoever. You can put. You can kind of switch out whatever your preference is. West, Maravich. No, not Iverson. What the heck? Any of those guys, and then Harden would be 5, I think. Just Harden. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's tiredness anymore because we've used that excuse before with him. I think it might just be a mental block in the playoffs now. I really don't know because literally game 5 was it? No. Game 4 against Utah, he went off. Shot lights out from the field, just went ham. And then he didn't have a game like that the rest of the playoffs. And they still almost beat the Warriors. So if he had just performed like that, they would have beat him.
Yeah, if they did not shoot 1 for 30 from 3.
Yeah, that helps too.
But yeah, Harden, he can put people in isolation, take them one-on-one. He can shoot the ball. He can make those passes. He can do anything. His turnovers are kind of high, but that's understandable because he's a high-usage player. And he's MVP candidate every single year. In the past 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, anybody that's anybody that can put up 30 points 3 straight seasons is a hell of a scorer. Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say, and we can move on from that. Honestly, we can end it at that with James Harden because he's just an insane scorer. That's what he is. You can say what
All
you
right.
want about his defense, but
Number two. Who are you thinking at number two? I was thinking Oladipo.
I wouldn't argue with that, but are we considering Paul George a small forward?
I am. I don't know about you. Can consider him a shooting guard if you want, but I'm putting him in the small forward category.
Okay. Yeah, I would put Oladipo ahead of Jimmy Butler. Yeah. So yeah. Number two, Oladipo.
Yeah, his numbers skyrocketed last year. 25 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals, and a block.
In
He
last
can do a little
year,
of everything.
last year that's a lottery team without Oladipo on that court. I remember they showed a stat in the playoffs that their offensive efficiency just like was last in the league when Oladipo was off the floor,
Yeah.
which is just crazy to me.
Yeah, without him on the floor, they were outscored by 9 points per 100 possessions, which is 31st in the league, only better than Sacramento.
Whoa.
And we all know Sacramento's situation.
Yeah, they have no direction at all.
And when he was on the floor, they had a 5 net rating, which for perspective would be number 5 in the league behind the Celtics, Raptors, Rockets, and Warriors. So he makes a big difference whether he's on and off the court. Massive differential, to say the least. And we all saw what he did in the playoffs. There's no really killer. So
I have a weird theory with Oladipo also. I just think nobody gave him a chance, you know? Like
yeah.
When he was with the Magic, as a rookie, he averaged 18 points per game at his true position, shooting guard. And then they decided to move into point guard because that's what the dumbass Magic decided to do. I don't know why. And then they moved into point guard. That didn't work. And then they move him and they bench him. Like, what? And like who else were you going to start? It's the Magic. And then
what the cheese?
They trade, and then they end up trading him for a guy that they traded like 5 months later. So,
yep.
That's an interesting thing to think about because Aaron Gordon averaged 19 points per game last year. Aaron Gordon averaged 19 points per game last year. So him and Oladipo would be pretty good. Low key. But that's a conversation for another day. I'm getting off topic. Like usual.
Number 3? Who do you have at number 3?
Number 3. Well, they were putting Jimmy Butler at shooting guard last year. So I'm just going to consider him a shooting guard.
Alright, I will too. If that's the case, he's number 3, I think.
Yeah.
Not much to say about Jimmy Buckets.
Yeah. He carried that team last year. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, without Jimmy Butler, they're a lottery team again. So,
yeah, for sure.
And it's really bad right now in Minnesota. They're in a really tough situation because Jimmy Butler's unhappy. He could leave next offseason and they'll end up with nothing. This is how it would look. They gave up Chris Dunn, Lauri Markkanen, Zach LaVine for a rental of Jimmy Butler for 2 years where they didn't do jank. That's how I see it. So.
Yeah. I got nothing to say on Jimmy Butler. I don't really have any notes on him.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if we would consider him as shooting guard or some other position, but yeah. At number 4, I put.
Oh, we forgot about DeRozan.
Yeah, DeRozan.
So you would put Butler ahead of DeRozan then?
Consideration for like the last 2 spots. I have Klay Thompson, I had CJ McCollum, and I had DeRozan.
For me personally, I would put DeRozan at 3.
Yeah.
Because I just haven't seen. I haven't seen. Like, you can say about what you want about DeMar DeRozan in the playoffs. That's a different story. But it says a lot about a player when he can adjust his game when the coach asks him to do so that the team can win, you know?
Yeah.
And he led that team to 59 wins last year. That's what it was, you know? So I have to reward him for that. I'm going to put him at 3.
Yeah, I would agree. I wouldn't argue with that. I would put, personally, I think, wait a second. So we had Harden at 1.
Oladipo at 2.
Who do we have at 2? Butler?
We had Oladipo at 2.
Oladipo at 2. So who do we have at 3? Do we have Butler at 3?
Yeah, we had Butler at 3, but I just switched mine to DeRozan.
Okay, so would you put Butler at 4?
Yes. And then
Okay, so
then I put Klay Thompson at 5.
Hello?
Then I put Klay Thompson at 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, Klay Thompson, he gets shots and he makes shots. 20 points per game with all the other guys who take shots on that team. He shot 40, rounded up, he shot 49% from the field, 45% from downtown, and almost 90% from the free throw line. Those are all career highs.
Yeah.
He's on pace to join Stephen Curry as the only 2 qualified players in NBA history to average more than 7 3-point attempts per game and make at least 45% of them.
Dang.
So he's a historically great shooter and a really good defender. His defensive numbers are good.
Yeah.
Better than some on this list, in fact. So he's definitely top 5.
Yeah. The reason I have him at 5 is just because his scoring is teammate based.
Yeah.
Well, it's set up by teammate. Like he still has to hit the shots. You give him credit for that, and yada yada. But the other players on this list, they have to create their own offense, and that's just tougher to do. That they create their own offense, lead the offense on their team, and they have to guard the other team's best player. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Didn't really think of that. Well, I know what you're talking about, but I didn't think of that before. So
yeah,
that's a good point.
So that's it for shooting guards, I guess. We can move to small forwards. We all know who's number 1 there. It's got to be LeBron.
It is LeBron.
Yeah.
Do we have to explain that? No.
Not really.
No. Number 2.
Number 2 small forward. Number 2 small forward is Kevin Durant.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, his numbers are off the charts, and I believe he was a 50, 40, 90 guy again last year, which is...
Like, it went completely under the radar, you know? Like,
Yeah.
he does it so much now that it's just that none of the fans really appreciate it. What
Yeah,
he's
we
doing.
kind of just become numb to it all.
Yeah.
Like
this guy
Kevin Durant,
just is unguardable. Like, there's really
the historic numbers he's putting up, especially in some of those finals games. The shots
like I
that he's
honestly
making
think in the
those
next
games,
like
the MVPs that he's won, both the finals, and basically what he is as a player, doesn't need any further explanation.
Like, I honestly think he's changed how teams draft. Like, think of the last few years, the top few picks. They going with 6'10" demigods as the top few picks. Ben Simmons, Brandon Ingram, Jonathan Isaac, who else? I would kind of count Luka Doncic because he's like 6'8" point guard. So, who else?
Versatile bigs for sure.
Yeah.
Versatile,
Just
wings.
6'11", can shoot, can dribble. Just he's a generational player. Like, I've kind of gotten over the fact that he went to Golden State now, just because, like, I wasn't I wasn't one of the people calling him a snake. The reason I wasn't cool with that move was because I didn't think we would get to see his full greatness since he would be hiding behind Steph Curry, but that hasn't happened. Like, we've still been able to see him fully in his prime. So
yeah.
I've kind of gotten over it, honestly.
Yep.
I don't know how you feel about it now, but we're 2 years removed from. We're basically 3 years removed from it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really. I'm not really mad per se anymore about that.
Yeah.
You kind of just gotta deal with it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they only got like DeMarcus Cousins in free agency. So
yeah.
It's just adding on to the.
Just adding on, yep.
Adding on to the super team. So just gotta deal with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Number 3, who you put at number 3?
Number 3 is in my mind, like, I want to say Kawhi Leonard, but like, he hasn't played in so long, I gotta say Giannis.
I wouldn't argue with that.
But I definitely put Kawhi at 4.
Yeah. Yeah, you could go either way. Yeah, Kawhi only played 9 games. I'm honestly done talking about him. Giannis is younger. If he can get some resemblance of a better jump shot, I think he might even be better. Become a better player than Kawhi is.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I wouldn't argue with you.
It's just tough because I think
because I really question Leonard's health.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I got Kawhi at 4. I'm just gonna stick with that.
Kawhi Leonard.
Number 5, small forwards, huh? Who are some other small forwards that I'm not remembering right now?
Number 5. So, Paul George?
Yeah, I'd say Paul George.
I mean, I can't think of anyone else who'd be worthy of a
Top
top
5,
5
yeah,
spot.
exactly.
Um,
It's crazy. Top forwards is like way up, like crazy good players, and then there's kind of a dip.
yeah.
No offense to Paul George, but he's not on the same level as the first 4 on this list.
Yeah, for sure. Paul George. We consider him a small forward.
Yeah.
21 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.5 steals on 44% shooting from the field.
When I look at his numbers, the 3 assists stands out to me. In the Thunder's offense, they do this ISO ball, right? So the players that they ISO with need to be able to facilitate when needed, and he hasn't shown the ability to do that.
Yeah.
If anything, he might have regressed as a passer since his injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
I would agree.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think about how we would be talking about Paul George if he hadn't had the injury.
For sure. Disappointing.
Because
those things happen.
Because if you think about it, if Paul George didn't get hurt, they would have had another year with that team to see if they could beat the Heat. And
Are
then
people still listening? I'm just wondering.
no, they left a while ago.
Alright, it's alright. We can just finish up.
Yeah. What was I saying?
You're talking about Paul George and how he's changed since his injury.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he just hasn't been the same player. That's just basically what I was gonna get to.
Yeah. Alright, power forwards.
Yep.
Power forwards. Alright, power forwards. Number 1. Oh, stupid thing.
Okay, number 1 thing we gotta address. Are we saying Anthony Davis is a power forward or a center? Because when the Pelicans put him at center when Cousins got hurt, their team played like significantly better.
I want to say he's a center.
Yeah.
For the sake of the conversation.
Yeah. So in that case, the top power forward might be, because Towns is definitely a center, so that's not an equation. Draymond Green keeps popping in my head, and I'm just like, no, there's got to be a better guy. Like, why is there nobody popping in my head? There's Aldridge, there's really not a lot of good power forwards, honestly. When you think about it. Power forward's weak these days.
Aldridge, Draymond. Would you consider Porzingis as power forward?
Yeah, he's a power forward. Cause they run that lineup with him and Cantor.
Yeah. Um, those are the only guys that can pop into my head right away.
Yeah. Right off the bat, dang, if Porzingis hadn't gotten hurt, I would be like completely inclined to put him number one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll still put him number one.
All right. I mean, like, when he's on the floor, I guess you can't really argue with that.
Mm-hmm.
24 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and over 2 blocks.
Yeah.
44% shooting. You can't really argue with that.
Yeah.
He's a skyscraper that can shoot threes and stretch the floor, make shots.
He's like a more athletic Dirk. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because Dirk was never that athletic, even in his prime.
And he can also put the ball on the floor, which is...
Yeah, which is just scary.
If he recovers from the injury, I would not argue with that, putting him number one.
He had a weird comment about, like, it was like an interview about his knee or something. He said, like, my friends say I'm part lizard because I recover from injuries quickly. And I was just like, what? I just did not get that one.
But it seems every day there's a new controversy.
Yeah. Lately there hasn't been though.
Yeah.
The NBA's been kind of dead.
But the NFL stuff is
more relevant right now.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly.
Anyway, who would you put number 2?
Okay, so it's between Aldridge and Green. Shoot. I really don't want to, but my gut is saying Draymond Green.
Why is that?
It's just what he does defensively. He's just a Swiss Army knife, man. It's just he can do whatever, you know. He can literally do whatever role you put him in, you know. I might be overrating him. I'm just gonna put Aldridge. Cause Green ain't really like that. Ooh, the call failed. Let me call him back real quick. Ooh, the call failed again. Alright. Oh, he's coming back. Alright. I was getting freaked out for a second. I was like, geez, why is it not working? But anyway, I'm just going to say Aldridge, number 2.
But in terms of like carrying the load for the Spurs...
Yeah, Aldridge. Because... I don't know. Yeah. Aldridge was y'all's like top scoring option last year by far. and he almost led y'all to the third seed. Almost.
which is pretty.
Pretty dang impressive.
Yeah, they gave him an extension. Because if you remember last summer, not this summer, last summer.
Yeah, he wanted to
He
leave.
requested a trade from the Spurs because he felt things weren't working out.
Yeah.
Then him and Pop sat down. They got things worked out. The Spurs gave him a 3-year extension at the start of the season, and he showed up big in those games. So
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, I could see the argument with Draymond being that guy who can do pretty much anything you want.
But that was just I guess I was thinking of the Western Conference Finals from the prior year, so that wasn't really valid, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that Western Conference Finals, man. Spurs with a 25-plus point lead in that game 1 on the road, and then Kawhi got hurt and everything just fell apart.
Yep. Everything has fallen apart since then, for sure.
That's a freaking Detroit.
Wow, it's crazy how that has led to this in so many ways.
Crazy how injuries change the complexion of the game. So would you put
That
Draymond at
injury
3?
literally changed the entire direction of your organization. Like, I'm sorry to say it, but
It did. Yeah, I could save that Kawhi conversation for another day, but Spurs conversation for another day. But would you put Draymond at 3, or who would you put at 3 for power forwards? If you put Aldridge at 2, which I agree with.
yeah, then I guess he'd go at 3.
Who would do that though? Like,
Yeah, like I said, the power forward position is kind of weak.
who else is this freaking power forward? I can't. It's late. It's like almost 11 o'clock, so I can't really think.
Honestly, let's just not worry about it and move on to centers. We should probably end this pretty soon.
I mean, Blake Griffin just popped into my head, but I don't know.
Blake Griffin isn't even relevant anymore.
Let's just do some centers and then wrap this thing up. So obviously, if we are considering Anthony Davis a center, he's number 1.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it.
Number 2. Who else do we got? All right.
Number 2. Well, let me just brainstorm names for you. We got.
Would you put Cat? Carl Town?
No, I would put Embiid over Cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, personally, Karl Anthony Towns is a little overrated. But I'll explain that later once we get to him. But yeah, I would definitely put Embiid before Cat. So with that being said, and I definitely can't put Cousins coming off a Achilles injury. You know.
Yeah.
Because that's iffy.
That solidifies spot 2 for me. Spot 3. Center position's kind of deep. There's Jokic. There's
Yeah. Jokic.
There's Karl Anthony Towns.
Drummond.
Yeah. Center position's a lot deeper than power forward. I just realized that.
Yeah. For sure. Because I feel like the power forward position is kind of split off into two, you know? Into you're either a stretch big or you're basically playing small ball center, you know?
Uh-huh. And this
Like Draymond Green, for example. Or no, that's not that good of an example. What's a good example of a power forward playing like small ball 4? I mean, small ball 5. There's a ton of examples. I can't think of any right now. I think I could put Cousins at 3. Hello? Alright, I'm gonna end this podcast. See y'all on the next one. Thanks for watching. Why is this